Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Joe Morris, and I am the host of the radio podcast Informed Consent. Tune in weekly as I interview everyday people like you and me throughout the communities as they share their experiences and knowledge regarding health matters that will keep you informed and empowered. As always, it takes a village working together to make a difference. This is Informed Consent.
Thank you for listening to the radio podcast Informed Consent with Dr. Joe Morris, reminding you to live well, laugh often, and enjoy life. Informed Consent.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Informed Consent. I am your host, Dr. Joe Morris, and today we have with us Ms. Catrina Tookes. Ms. Tookes has not only a long-time friend of mine, but she is also a person who's very dear to my heart as well. Unfortunately, Trina was diagnosed with COVID-19 viruses this past year, and I asked her to come onto the show to talk about her experience with COVID and living with COVID, and also to provide a message of hope for the people, and also to give us some good takeaway notes. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Trina to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I know it's been difficult to try to, for us to coordinate time, and I understand that you definitely have had a journey living with COVID-19 and also surviving COVID-19. So I'd like to begin by saying, how are you feeling? How are you holding up?
I guess I'm feeling okay. However, I am still having some difficulties. Some issues still with COVID. Still having shortness of breath and a little chest pain here and there, rapid heartbeat.
So what is a typical day like, Trina, post-COVID? And are you still sound like you're still having some residual complications?
Yeah. So initially I came home on a walker after being in the hospital for 9 days. 5 of those days were on a ventilator. Came home on a walker. Was on a walker for about a week with the assistance of my sister and my aunt. I ended up weaning myself off within a week. I also came home on oxygen 24 hours a day. Currently, I am still on oxygen. I went to the cardiologist today because, let me back up. I was having home therapy, occupational and physical therapy and nursing services that came out to the house. They came 3 days a week to help with the endurance, my strength, and to help me get back up to, try to get back into daily living. They have since, they scaled down to 2 days, and as of last week, occupational therapy ended their services, and PT will be ending theirs this week. Nursing services, all of them will be ending, and their suggestion is to go to cardiac rehab and pulmonary rehab. I went to the cardiologist today, had a full cardiac workup, and I've never had any cardiac issues prior to this COVID. With the cardiac workup, I had I had several EKGs done today. I had a stress test via IV and X-rays due to me not being able to go on the actual treadmill because of my shortness of breath. I had an echogram today, as well as what else I have? I forget a lot of stuff now too, unfortunately. COVID brains, what they tell me. COVID fog. I had I had the I had one more test. I'm gonna tell you. Ultrasound of my heart as well.
So it sounds like because of the COVID, you've had the this domino effect, or what we call comorbid, illnesses that's happened since then, or almost like a cascade, almost like a domino effect that has triggered. I mean, all these multiple conditions, and these happen. Now, were these after you transition from this ICU, or do you have some pre-existing conditions before you received
Never,
diagnosis?
never, no issues at all. Very healthy woman.
So it sounds like since you had COVID, you've had these complications. Can you talk to me about your experience you've had since you've been diagnosed and coming out of the ICU? So I understand you were there for 9 days.
I was in cardiac care unit for 9 days. I I initially got
And intubated, correct?
I'm
You were
sorry,
intubated.
critical care unit for 9 days. But I initially went to one hospital. They diagnosed me on the 23rd of February. They discharged me on the 23rd. My husband also went. My husband and my daughter also went to to the hospital, and we all were diagnosed on that day with COVID. Um, they discharged me. They admitted my husband, and they admitted my daughter. A few days later, they admitted my husband because he had low oxygen. A few days later, I had like chronic coughing, and I still have that coughing, by the way. And my secretions started getting really, really thick. So I was advised to go back to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, I couldn't make a full sentence. Went to the hospital, and they admitted me. They ended up intubating me. To my understanding, I was intubated for 5 days, and that was because my oxygen just started dropping really rapidly. After coming out of getting extubated, I was put into a step down unit for cardiac care or critical care, and I was there for 2 days and discharged home. And again, I was discharged with um, with the oxygen as well as the walking. Yeah, a walker.
Now, did you?
So I was in the hospital from the 27th, I want to say, to the 9th,
Okay.
the 27th of February to the 9th of March. My husband was in the hospital from the 23rd of February to the 15th of March. My daughter was in the hospital from the 23rd of February to the 9th of March. My grandson, who was 2 years old, was in the hospital from the 27th or 28th of February to the 16th of March. My sister, everybody was contacted. It was like a trickle effect. So my sister also went to the hospital on the 27th of March. And I think
Okay.
she got out like the 1st or the 2nd of, I'm sorry, the 27th of February and got out the 1st or 2nd of March. Her fiance went in, I want to say like the 28th, and he was discharged like on the 4th of March. My aunt, who's 83 years old, caught this virus. My 9-year-old daughter caught the virus, and my niece girlfriend caught the virus. So a total of 9 people had this virus. And the way we contracted it was my daughter's son, the 2-year-old, aspirated when he was around 8 months, and now he's on a vent. So he has a home care nurse that comes to see him. That nurse husband had contact with a young lady who he was training at work, who ended up testing positive for COVID. To her, unbeknown to the nurse, she was around her husband, and she came to work. When she came to work is how this trickle effect for me and my family took place. My daughter invited my husband and I over for Valentine's Day dinner, and that's what we was exposed to. And I exposed my sister and her family, and it was a trickle effect.
Wow. So how's everyone? Is everyone recovering okay now?
So everybody is recovering and doing well, besides the queen.
Okay. Wow, Trina, you sounds like you've been through a lot. And does that mean you're on oxygen currently and
Yes,
requiring it? How often do you wear it?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow. So that means you're still having some complications with breathing.
Yeah, I do try to take it off, um, periodically, but it's when I'm sitting. It's hard for me to move around and go long distance without it.
Hmm. So with having these complications related to COVID, um, are you able to wear a mask still, or do you not wear the mask with the oxygen?
So no, I definitely wear masks, and I think I'm um, more now developing some type of post-traumatic syndrome because it's anytime I see. I mean, I won't even go outside without it, and I will not drive my car with the windows down without a mask on. I'm just like that freaked out, not knowing, how this virus is going. And me living in Michigan, we are like number one now for COVID.
Now, Trina, I'm going to take a quick break right now. We're going to take care of a few sponsors, but we're going to come right back, and I want to continue our conversation, and I want to talk about your perception of the COVID vaccine, and if you have decided to get it or not, and also any words, final thoughts you would like to leave the people. So we'll be right back. I'm Dr. Joe Morris, and you are listening to Informed Consent, and I'm on the phone with Ms. Catrina Tookes, and she's sharing her experience regarding living with COVID-19 2021. We'll be right back.
We will be right back after these important announcements.
Informed Consent.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Morris. Did you know within the African American and Latino communities, research has suggested that the prevalence of Alzheimer's disease is much higher than other ethnic groups? In fact, African Americans are 2 to 3 times more likely to get Alzheimer's disease than Caucasians. Currently, there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, more awareness, education, and support services are needed to help families and loved ones cope with this chronic illness. To learn more about Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementias, please visit icare-alz.org. That's icare-alz.org, or your local mental health center that focuses on helping older adults. Remember, it takes a community working together to make a difference. This is a public service announcement.
Okay, we're back, and thank you, Trina, for being with us. And in our first segment, we talked about your experience with living with the COVID-19 and some of the residual effects. So, have you gotten your vaccine?
Fortunately, I'm not. I'm unable to get the vaccination until 90 days from 90 days of being diagnosed with it.
Okay, so those who are listening, sound like what you're saying is once you have been diagnosed with COVID-19, there's a wait period from the time you're diagnosed and are living with the illness or disease before you can even get the vaccine. And you're saying 90 days is the wait period?
That is correct.
So now that after the 90 days has passed, do you think you're signed up for it?
So I was really, really reluctant to getting it because it came out so fast. However, my body cannot go through what it went through. And so I have one of my best friends has her own clinic. And because I trust her, I'm going to go ahead and get immunized through her clinic.
Okay. All right. So she's going to ensure that you get vaccinated. Do you have a preference on which one you would get? Don't say it. but there's 3 choices out there, right? As we know.
Yeah, well, it's one I definitely won't get.
Okay. So those who are listening, I'll take it you would do your research, see which one you think is best for you. Make sure you speak with your health provider. And if you definitely have any pre-existing conditions, you surely need to speak with your primary health provider before getting the vaccine. So with that being said, Trina, it sounds like you've been through a lot. You're on this road to recovery. And I mean, I really appreciate you taking time to share your experience with the people and also coming onto the show. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the village regarding COVID-19 and any take-home messages?
Yeah, I guess my only message to the people would be to keep your masks on, social distance, and make sure you keep your hands clean. And it doesn't matter where you are; you have to treat everybody as if they're affected.
And I want to echo what you just said. And the COVID virus is still real, and it's still pretty much alive, right? And I truly want to thank you for coming on to the show. And so, with that being said, do I have your permission, Trina, to release this information to the people?
Absolutely.
Well, there you have it, folks. Trina has given us the okay to release this information. We really appreciate you coming on to the show. Join us next time on Informed Consent as we continue to keep you updated on health matters that keep you informed and engaged. I'm Dr. Joe Morris, and as a reminder, it takes a village working together to make a difference.
Join us next time as we continue to explore topics that keep you informed and engaged on matters that promote healthy lifestyles.
Informed consent.